that we have the question perfectly verbalized, but in the reality it is so far from what we truly want to know. Remember, when you ask a question, that you must be prepared to hear the answer of that question. That is the most difficult thing.
When you were discussing friends kind of falling away as someone raises their vibration, would you agree that oftentimes, especially when somebody is not in the brightest of places in their lives, the people that we are referring to as our friends are actually selected for very different reasons? And true friendship is not necessarily what lies at the base of that relationship.
Absolutely. It tends to be, we have noticed, especially such as the example of Brian again, as far as in his dark place. We noticed that Brian had his entire life surrounded himself with bright, shiny people. He did not see the negative in society. He lived in a city of 8 million people, yet only ever saw the beauty of those people. He did not see the gang members beating another person up when he walked by it. Instead, he saw the beautiful little old lady sitting on a park bench having lunch. When he entered that dark place, suddenly there were no bright, shiny people around him. He loathed in that. He bathed in it. And he began to surround himself with people who were, as you would say, not such great people, who had their own intentions in mind to take advantage of the situation. He quickly realized what he was doing, but many times those in the physical do not see it, and they feel that they are getting what they deserve by having those around them that do nothing to inspire them but hurt them, make them feel worse about themselves. And yet, as in the physical, you continue to allow those people in your lives. We are speaking in general. But you must see that the bright, shiny people that you surround yourself would never have a harsh word to say, would never look at you in your low moment and insult you, or wallow in the darkness with you. They will see that your light is still there, and they will inspire you. Those are the people you want to surround yourself with. Why wouldn't you? It feels so good. You feel alive when you are surrounded by light. And you will notice that when you surround yourself with that light, you do not see the darkness as easily. You do not see the hatred and the ugliness of those that are in a vibration that is so opposite of you that you cannot recognize it. But it begins with you. It begins with searching your fragmented soul, and do not take that in a negative way. There's very few in the physical world who do not have a fragmented soul at this point. That is what this physical world does to you. You must understand, you are in the hardest, the most difficult physical existence in the universe. This planet and those of you on it are spoken of often throughout the universe. This is the most difficult educational experience you will have, and you chose to come forward and experience it. Okay. There is not another being, another physical being or physical planet within this universe or within the dimensions of this planet that is as difficult as this one. So right there alone, one should be very proud of the fact that they chose to come forward into this. Now that does not mean that it's peaches and cream and look at me, look what I've done. It means that you were aware before you came forward that there were some big lessons you wanted to learn, that there were some larger experiences than you've been able to experience in any other existence, and that is why you've come forward. And do not get me wrong, you make a choice. Each one of you have made a choice. When you come into this physical world, it is not just for one go around. You are committed, in a sense, and you willingly and lovingly come forward every time. But you have each had millennia of physical incarnations within this planet. So, so you know what you're walking into, as we say, but for whatever reason, especially right now in this time-space reality that you are aware of, it is one of the most difficult times. There is great purpose in that, you see, because last year the awakening began around the world for a very good reason. There are changes coming to this planet and to each individual on it, and it is imperative that your vibration be raised up so that you will be recognized by those that will be changing this world. Does that help you?
Very much so. I know exactly what you're talking about. And I feel this pulling, and I've felt it my entire life, and this, like I'm meant to be bigger than I am, that I'm supposed to do something greater than what I'm doing, and I feel it. I just don't. I hate my brain.
And it's frustrating. We understand it is very frustrating when you know to your core. It is what we refer to as the knowing. There are things in this life that you just know, and you cannot explain why you know them.
Right.
That is one of them that is big for many people right now. They are feeling as though there is greater purpose.
Well, that's what I've been my whole life, and then the past few years, I'm sure you already know, I've been stuck. I've ostracized myself from everyone, and
it is easy
blocked
to do.
everything. Well, I've blocked everything, and I don't know how to unblock it. I don't know how to let go.
Craig refers to it as a hairball that must be coughed up. So, don't. Here's what we would recommend for you. Do not try to figure out the big questions at this time. Start with something so little. Start with something as simple as why am I frustrated at this moment? Why did I react to what that person said to me in a negative way? We guarantee you, when you start with something tiny, it opens up door after door until suddenly you're standing at that door. And that will be a very intense and emotional door for you to open. We have seen the other side. We know when you are going to open it, and you will need both of them with you through that process. But it will take opening the door by yourself first. Once the door is open, those around you that love you, that want to inspire you, need to be around you, because it will be a difficult time for you. But know that it is worth the difficulty. Know that it is worth the pain that you will feel. We are not necessarily talking about physical pain, but there will be physical pain involved simply because it is tied to your emotions. It is well worth it. You will find that you're not saying, I'm back, you're saying, I'm back and I'm better than I was before. That is what Brian has experienced, and it has been great joy for him. It was not fun getting there. We tried in the beginning to explain to Brian and those around him that this journey is exciting and fun and you will have such a good time. But we realized right away that Brian sees through that and basically had told us, be honest with me. I know you're lying to me and I want to know what this is going to be like.
Right.
When we explained to him that it would be painful, that it would be hard and it would be emotional, he accepted it graciously, and we felt handled it very well, until it got too painful, until it hurt too much. And then he used words like, fuck you, and go to hell. Those were a bit shocking for us, but it's okay. he needed to realize that no, it is not something that is happy, happy, joy, joy 24 hours a day. He also needed to realize that even though you achieve your vibration raising when your guide begins to speak through you, and we mean, as I speak through Brian, when your guide begins to speak through you, there will be an expectation of those around you that you have reached the spiritual pinnacle. Explain to them, as I will explain to you, that simply because Brian's connection is strong, he has agreed to be a conduit or a medium for me to speak, does not mean that he understands everything that he says. There are many times in which he lays in bed and thinks to himself, why me? I'm not even really a spiritual person. But the reality is, you all are. It is all within you. Do not be afraid to listen to your guides. Recognize their voice. It will sound different than yours. You will begin to think in the beginning that it's you answering questions that you are asking, but the reality is it is your guides. You both have very, very strong guides. You will have to meet them yourselves, but they will bring a great sense of completion to you. You are a team. You agree before you even come here that you are a team. Brian and I had physical incarnations together, and before he came forward into this life, we had a contract that I would be his guide, and in the next go-around he will be my guide, and I will come into the physical. You have the same agreements with your guides, so there is much power in getting to know them and having them be a part of your everyday life. Now, Brian came to a point where he was losing himself in a sense. Every question he was asked, he would ask Wes, and Wes would answer, and that's how he looked at it. So you must realize that though you are a team, you are the individual within the physical, and it is all in your choices. There are many times that we will recommend Brian to take a certain path, and he will do the opposite, and halfway through it say, you were right, but it was his choice, and he wanted to have that experience. And there is always purpose in whichever path you choose. So it is important that you begin that relationship in a much stronger way than you already do. You both have much to offer. And we can tell you that your guides are biting at the bit to get started with you both.
I can feel that.
And you will feel that pressure. There are many things that will take place during your process. Brian calls one the jackhammer, which is a feeling of vibration in the back of your head. That is non-physical, whether it be your guide or whether it be a loved one that has passed on, trying to speak with you, and you are blocking it. Blocking is the most common thing that you in the physical do. It makes it easier. Brian used to drink a lot. Drinking quiets the voices so that you can kind of ignore it. So those things you must keep in mind as you go forward. And when you feel that jackhammer or that vibration in your throat, roll with it, allow it. You must be willing and allowing. We, as your guides, cannot force you to do anything. We will not push you to speak for us. We will not do any of those things because it's all about your choice and your comfort level. There are times that Brian has tried to allow me to step forward and cannot, simply because it's just where his comfort level is at that moment. And we have had to stop the show. So know that it is all about your choice. There is none of us up here are saying you must do this. You will always decide, but they are very excited for that connection to grow. There are a great many things in both of your futures in which the effect on those people that you touch unknowingly will be greater than you could ever imagine. So begin there. Begin with the quieting of your mind, and always always thinking of the things that you love about yourself and your life and